All right, good morning, everyone. Welcome back to another beautiful day. How we doing? How we doing? I'll tell you one thing, the gold trade is back. That might be gold and the Dow today, I think, is the focus. We will talk about it. But we definitely see the gold trade back alive. We see the silver back at pretty much back at all-time highs. So we are, yes, silver. Look at that. Wow. We'll talk about that. Dow, gold, and it looks like movement out of tech. We saw something very interesting yesterday, and that will be the main focus of today, no doubt. That will be the main focus, to see if there is opportunities elsewhere. That's really what I want to keep an eye on today. Is there opportunities elsewhere on the market rather than the tech trade? Because you can definitely see it's slowing down. So let's pay attention to that. Good morning, guys. Welcome back. Happy Thursday. Yesterday, another just sort of one direction and then nothing the rest of the day type of move. Really nice day for me on UNH. That was pretty much the highlight of my day. Took my losses on the Meta and the MP trade, and then traded UNH to the upside. Saw that Dow strength off the open. You guys know we've been tracking that daily chart on UNH. So that preparation on UNH, watching that daily chart, and then seeing the Dow strength sort of just gave me that confidence to take UNH yesterday. So that was that. Besides that, very boring day. Nothing else really going on. The entire day, the entire afternoon was just a sort of choppy mess with little to zero attempts of any kind of continuation later day. So pretty much just stayed away from that. Took a little bit of a gold trade intraday, actually, over the 4,200 level, which was nice. And there's a really nice retest coming in right now on gold this morning. So some good looks on gold. Some good looks to, be paying attention to what the Dow does again. Some nice new sectors and names to watch for some outperformance. And a very clear no trade zone on the Nasdaq futures. Very clear. It's as clear as day. So let's go ahead and dive in. Press that like button. Subscribe to the channel. And here we go. So, first things first, I don't believe you have economic data today. I believe that is pulled. I don't think you have it. I don't see it on the economic calendar anymore. So, I am under the impression that there is no CPI this morning. I could be wrong, but I do not see it on the economic calendar. It has been pulled from that economic calendar, which makes me believe that it's something that's not being reported. So that sort of sucks. Again, another day without a catalyst. Another day without any type of reason for a movement. So if that is true, if we don't see anything at 8:30, which I don't think you will, then we have remained in the no trade zone. We look to be remaining inside of this NTZ on the Nasdaq futures. So for me, today, if we stay within this Monday low and this Wednesday high, if we stay within the 25,452 to the 25,900, I will look to likely not trade any tech or any type of continuation attempts today. I will not want to be stuck inside of what I saw yesterday, which is exactly what you're trading within today. So that is number one. That is very clear. There is a very clear chop zone. You have traded within the same range from Monday this entire week, right? So here's your Monday range, your Tuesday, your Wednesday, and here we are again today. So when I look back at this market this week and I see that my performance has been okay, I've made about, I think, $3,000 this entire month. So very slow performance. I look at this and I say, you know what? Is what it is, right? It's not really going anywhere. The upside or downside continuation is clearly not there. It's been a little bit difficult to take confident trades inside of this range. And I look at that and I say, wow, what a beautiful day it is outside. So that's what I'm going to try my best to do again today. If I see nothing outside of that range, hit the gym, work on the mental health, work on the physical and mental health, work on the relaxation, and just sharpen the knives and wait for us to get outside of this range. There's no reason to lose money inside of this area. There's no reason to push it. There's no reason to say, oh, this is the trade I'm going to put my whole account in because this is the one. That type of mentality because you're bored and you're not getting anything that's really working for you. That's what crushes you. So, yeah, staying away from that today. We're going to have to break the Monday lows. That's it. If we break the Monday lows, I like the downside quite a bit because you have a gap to fill below. Underneath 25,452, you have a gap to fill to 25,228. If I go here and I take off the extended hours, you could see that is right here. So here on the extended hours on the Nasdaq, you can see if TOS will let me zoom in, you can see underneath Monday's lows, you have a gap to fill towards right here around that 25,228, 25,200 area. That's right there. So that would be nice if we can get that. I would be intrigued by that. I would be looking to see if that is a possibility today. But to catch that possibility, to get that move, you need to break Monday's lows. And there is a very good chance again today that you just sort of hold the lows, hold the lows, hold the lows, and hold the lows, right? And then just sort of do this and do nothing. So I need to see the break of Monday lows, even the break of this 25,368. We break under that zone. I like the gap fill. That's probably the most interesting opportunity of the day. If it's not for that, then I really don't love the upside because as you've seen, the upside is very lackluster over the last 4 trading days. There's been no real attempt higher. This is just an overnight gap up that got smoked. So if I'm looking at overnight gap ups getting smoked like yesterday, then it tells me that the strength is definitely not there. And I really don't have any interest in longing these channel lows personally. Could be a nice trade today, but that's a tough one for me to get behind. For me, at this point, a long really only looks enticing over 25.9, right? After seeing what happened yesterday on the tech side, it really sort of sets in that there is some massive selling still up here, and I probably don't want to be trading against that. So NTZ markets, man, that's it. Last time we had an NTZ, we did well. We waited for it to break, and once it did, it created a nice opportunity. It was right here. You guys should remember this. We had our NTZ. We had a break and retest below it, and that was a beautiful Tuesday trading day. Right here, NTZ, NTZ. Get me outside of it, man. That's it. That's all I got for you. Get me outside of that no trade zone. S&P 500 futures, NTZ between 6,900 and the 6790 is really the big zone. You can try to scalp around some short-term nano levels if you want. I mean, you can look to short under previous day low into Tuesday's lows. That's 50 to 30. So you have like 20 points right here you could take advantage of. Do I like shorting under yesterday's lows into the daily 20? Really not at all. But is there a scalp there? Yeah, maybe. Some ES scalps. That's possible. Is there a scalp underneath the daily 20 into the 6812, 6790 Monday's lows? Yeah, it's possible, right? That's another 10-point, 15-point scalp on the ES. Am I that intrigued by those short-term scalps that just seem to be very difficult inside of this channel? I'm not that interested, to be honest. What I can see here is that you continue to reject the 6,900 and you continue to hold this 6,800, 6,790. So I'm looking at price action that's pretty just not really giving you much inside of this zone. So today, looking pretty weak on the tech market again. Can you get a pullback to the daily 20? Maybe there's opportunity there. Can you get a pullback into 6790? Maybe there's opportunity there. What would be the better opportunity for me? Under 6790 into the daily 50 for this gap area right here. That's more interesting to me. Or over the 6900 level. So pretty major NTZ there on the ES. And then when you go to the SPY, you can see it even more clearly right here on the SPY, right? Look at the SPY. You have channeling markets. You have structure here. And you are right back within this area, right? Look at that. So between Tuesday's lows here at 678, 679, and 686, I'm looking at a market that I probably want to stay away from, to be quite honest, right? I'm looking at a market that really doesn't entice me much. You have previous day lows here at 681. You could bounce off that today, sort of just bounce and then just sort of sit here. Again, without a catalyst on the market, I don't expect much today. 678, 679, 686. You got yourself like a 5-point, 6-point channel right here. Can we get outside of it? Can we break Tuesday's lows? And can we get maybe a move lower for an actual continuation? Daily 20 is there to be careful of. Can we get a move over 686? Without that, I'd put your defense up, man. I really would. I really would put the defense up at this current moment, especially when you look at this Nasdaq. I would really consider the defensive trading and the capital preservation again. That's what we did here, and it worked. Once you broke it, it provided a beautiful day where that was my $25,000 day. That was my biggest day in quite some time. Since that point, you've basically gone nowhere, and I have not been able to replicate that performance, right? And that's just a matter of not getting that same beautiful continuation price action on the intraday, right? Like, look at this day, beautiful downside move, beautiful fading downside continuation price action. Since that point, you had one more day like that, which was last Friday, and then you had this and this. Those were the last two continuation days in the last basically month. So, need to get that action, man. Need to get that action. QQQ, pretty much the same thing. You can see here on the QQQ, you are trading within the 616.89 to 627 high. This is just a channel that you have traded in since Monday of this week. Right here, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and here is Thursday. Can you get outside of it? Underneath 616.89, you have a beautiful gap to fill, which I really think is the best trading opportunity out there right now. Not that I think the market should go, not that I'm a perma bear, but that's just the best trading opportunity, right? Underneath this Monday low to fill this gap right here, possibly back into these highs or this high right here, that is clearly the best trading opportunity on the market right now. A gap fill on the QQQ. It's clear that the market is on its weaker side. It's clear that tech was, took a beating yesterday, and if we can just get a little bit of a second move, right? If we can just get one day to mimic the day prior, it would be a beautiful trading day, right? That's been the biggest problem on the market. You have not been able to replicate the prior's day action with any type of consistency, right? So you have, strength that day. Then you come into weakness. Then you come into strength. Then you come into smash down weakness. Can we just get this type of weakness to translate again today? If it can, people can start, you as a trader can start to get a little bit more confident that, hey, this might actually be the short-term reversal move, and I can trust that weakness that I'm seeing in tech again today. So can I trust that tech weakness again today? That's going to be the question. Or is tech just going to find a random bid again and go back to these highs? And then you're sort of like, okay, yesterday tech was weak. What the hell's going on today? And so I'm flip-flopping my thesis on a daily basis. It's hard to build that, massive confidence that's needed to just, try to nail something. So I'd love to get the gap fill. That's my trade today. If we can break 616.89 and see the weakness translate from yesterday into today on tech, it would be a beautiful day, I think, and a very catchable move. If you just sort of hold these lows again and sit here until 12 o'clock and then, maybe get this random pop that then fails, and then you do this, and then maybe at 350 today you get the drop into the gap fill for like an overnight session gap fill, that would be the worst possible scenario, right? Go sideways all day, market drops in the after hours to fill the gap. We wake up tomorrow here, and this whole gap was in the after hours. Would be good for some futures trading. I wouldn't mind that, but I really don't want to be up until, the crack of dawn trading that gap fill. So hopefully we get it today. If we don't, could be a shitty NTZ day. So just be careful of that. Not Dow Jones. IWM, small caps. If you break this Monday low, I actually do quite like the IWM downside. That is something I would be watching today. Right under this Monday low, you have a pretty nice low volume area down into this 240. I think this could be an advantageous area here. Can we get under 242.25? That would be something I'm watching today. Dow Jones, definitely my top watch today. Can the Dow continue its strength? The Dow is over all-time highs, and it's over all-time highs on a very clean break and retest. Right here, you can see previous triple top highs on the Dow Jones, and that would be a beautiful retest long that I would be watching today. I am interested in maybe some DIA action, some Dow Jones futures, or just watching some Dow stocks to maybe have a little bit of a bright spot on this market. The Dow Jones, the Mike Jones, right here. 48,118 is this high right here, and this high is 48,214. If we can get a retest of that triple top high today, I would love to look for some Dow strength. Get a retest of this area here. Look for that break and retest long and see if the Dow can find another bid. So let's see. That's something I'll definitely be watching. Gold. This is a very nice watch today, in my opinion. I really quite like this gold watch. This is actually a perfect retest that's coming in right now. So, gold futures. Overnight, it's a sick hold here, which I can't believe it sucks that this happened. What is this, 8 p.m.? Yeah, I mean, could have caught it, 8 p.m., 9 p.m. You would have had to been up pretty late trading futures on gold, but, I know most gold traders are up till the crack of dawn. But this is a beautiful, beautiful hold. Let me show you why. So looking at this 4-hour chart, you can see on gold, you had previous highs, previous lows, previous highs, and look at this hold right there between 41.75 and 41.96. That is a perfect hold above this previous structure point. That is really good stuff. So that, to me, would tell me that gold has more in it, right? That flip right there is huge. If you stay above that flip, I don't see why this doesn't go back to all-time highs alongside silver, right? I don't know why you would have a gold underperformance when silver is at all-time highs. So I am definitely intrigued in the gold trade today. This is probably where my eyes will be majority of the day. And if you look at even just right here, let me show you what's happening right now as we speak. If we go to the daily chart, look at this. See the daily chart here? See this daily low right here and this daily high? That is right between this 42.23, 42.30. And look at the retest that's coming in right now as we speak. Rejections. Look at this hold stepping up. So if this can maintain today, I like that long. And even a dip lower into here, I like that long as well. Longing here or longing on a lower dip into here. Two very interesting opportunities that I want to be paying attention to today. There's really not much to the upside that would stop gold, in my opinion, until this little structure right here at 42.90. If I go to the daily chart, there's really nothing there on the daily. The daily, there's nothing until 4,400 on the daily. On the 4-hour, you have some minor flips here, like right here, lows, highs, 42.90, right near that psychological 4,300. I think that is definitely something to watch today. If you can hold this area right here, then I think you will go pretty quickly towards that. If you do break under this, then I think you get a little bit of a dip, right? And you pick it back up in between the 4,200, 41.75. That would be where I'm watching. Do we have jobless claims? Is that actually coming out? Let me see. I saw nothing on the calendar today. Yeah, I see personally nothing on the calendar. I think everything has been taken off. Unless you guys see where the jobless claims is. On my side, it's all gone on the Forex Factory calendar. Okay. For GLD, that would be, let me take a look. Yeah, for GLD, look at this hold over 3. Yeah, perfect. 385. What's this low? Yep, right in here. If we get GLD to hold this high, this low, and right here, that is a sick hold and above this structure. So that's definitely a watch as well. Keeping an eye on that. Can gold make another move today? Big watch. Big watch. Okay. All right, so that's that. Individual equities, Tesla still in the Chinese finger trap, under 414.50. I do like the short. Again, I'm going to stay true to the mindset that we should fill this straight up move on the weekly. I do believe you will see 373 at some point. That would be, I think, a really nice, we talked about it yesterday. I'm not going to go over it again. This would be a great pullback to these highs, daily 100, drop, pop. This is the area to enter longs. Not going to go long inside of this, just consolidation. Looks like you are losing some strength here on Tesla. If you get underneath that 414.50, I think the floor will drop some towards 400, and possibly we even get that 373. I'll keep an eye on it, but my my confidence in us dropping this low is very low. Let's see. NVIDIA, oh, actually, let's go to the SMH because I got to show you something on the SMH. The SMH, okay, I will likely take a lot of size off of any semiconductor trade if I even take a semiconductor trade. Why is that? Because the semiconductors themselves are stuck in a channel, right? The SMH itself is trading sideways. So you have gone absolutely nowhere on the SMH since Monday of last week. It's the same spot. So with that being said, I would assume that the semiconductors likely do not provide the best trading opportunities. AMD was definitely a nice outlier yesterday, but a little bit cautious on that today. NVIDIA continues to fail the 194, 195 zone. That's a good supply zone. Can you get a little bit of downside? Yeah, you probably could into 190. Is this enough interest for me to be short NVIDIA into this 190 demand? Probably not. Earnings is approaching. NVIDIA really hasn't provided much great price action. It was okay yesterday again, under 194. I mean, look at this. You tell me if you were able to profit in this move on NVIDIA today or yesterday, come on and take over the live streams, man. If you entered NVIDIA anytime after around 10:30 yesterday and were able to profit between 10:30 and 4 o'clock, well done. I applaud you. So looking at that yesterday, absolutely disgusting. NVIDIA likely is a no watch for me today. AMD, back inside the NTZ, we have lows at 249. We have highs at 263. You are inside of the same trading range that you traded within this entire period here, and welcome back to that exact same range. Not something I'm interested in. Maybe a long off the 248, 249 if it's very strong. Maybe a short off these highs if it's really weak. If it can get outside of this range, great. That would be where I'd be more interested. Without that, probably staying away from AMD today. MU, inside of a range as well between 249 and 240. You have 240 demand, 249 supply, basically a 10-point range here on MU. Have an alert above. If MU can get a nice break and retest long above 249 and the market can be strong, that's interesting. Now, the question is, can the market really do that? I don't know, but I'll have an alert over 249. Qualcomm, nothing. MRVL, nothing. The only other one that looks like it should fail, but probably not going to fail, is Broadcom. I mean, everything in my book says that this failure should create something of a downside move. The 4 has not dropped. I mean, you have traded. Look at this 4 out. This is basically a heart monitor here over the last 3 trading days. So your Broadcom is, here's Monday, here's Tuesday, and here is Wednesday. So that is just hideous. So Broadcom, yeah, nothing. So semiconductors are really not a watch for me at all today. I mean, probably the furthest thing from the thing I want to trade today. Still looking at this, Dow Jones outperformance and gold outperformance are the 2 things that I would absolutely be watching today. And you can see gold is already squeezing right off that demand. So this is absolutely a watch. Maybe some GLD options today, some GC contracts. That's sort of the bright spot. I think there's going to be a lot of people that start to get interested in this trade again, right? This is what we talked about. If you remember on this live stream, during this period, we said gold needs a spark. Once that spark comes back in, people will start looking to trade it again, and it will become clean and volatile again. And that has begun, right? That has begun. So gold trade is back, right? The gold trade is back, and it's time to lock in because this thing provides some juicy opportunities, that's for sure. Okay, that's the semiconductors. Individual equities. Let's go to this piece of shit. I'm gonna try to see if Interactive Brokers and E-Trade, I think it gives me a profit per buy stock. I don't know if I've won trading Meta this year. I really don't. I actually might have I might be 0 for whatever amount of attempts I have on Meta. Meta failed miserably yesterday, straight down, took my loss on it. I thought it was looking good off this major previous low, and it was sort of, it had that really nice breakout on Monday. It had a nice pullback long on Monday, nice move. Ultimately, just absolutely shitting the bed, and so Meta is quickly off the docket. Nothing for me on Meta today. If you break 603 demand, you're probably going to go lower. So right here, under 603, right here, you will likely go lower. So watch out for that 603 today if tech is weak. Google. There's a gap on Google, and this is possibly intriguing to me. A very strong stock, but looking weak this morning, very weak, and also there is a gap to fill. So let me go ahead and show you that. If I go here and I take this off, you will see a gap here on Google that I think could be a nice opportunity. So Google right here, under 283.54, has a gap to fill to 280. So that's around a 3.5 point gap on Google. That's enough to make a nice little trade, and I like that little area right there on Google. So today, if the tech market is weak again, if we can get some of that tech weakness, we are seeing Google failing back under these highs right here. And if you can break that 283.50, I like the gap. I really do like it back even into 272 here, right? Sort of trade back into this range. So I will probably keep that as one of my top watches today. Google, 283.50. Going to need the Nasdaq to show me something of weakness to get confident. But that will be something I keep an eye on. Amazon got smoked yesterday off that supply we had, straight back down into demand. Nothing is interesting until you break this low for me. So not much on Amazon unless you break this low. You break that low, you have a gap to fill as well. And again, you have that QQQ gap, so it could get interesting. Let's go to Netflix. Has been great, man. Netflix trade might be going today. Apple 272. If Apple fails 272 and tech is weak today, I don't mind that downside either. Back down towards that daily 20. I would watch 272 on Apple. I have an alert on that. Let's go to Netflix. Netflix has been awesome. The thesis on the comeback off this major retest was great. I didn't quite have the confidence to take it yet. Maybe poor job on my part, but that weekly retest that we've been eyeing, perfect retest and long, is starting to show. The market weakness, tech weakness, has been tough to be confident that this will continue, but Netflix has been doing it by itself. So maybe that even the Disney weakness today could help Netflix. Disney did not have very stellar things to say about their streaming. TV declines continue. Maybe that's good for, possibly good for Netflix. We'll see how it reacts. You know what? One thing that is absolutely ridiculous, and I'm still paying for it, that ESPN is not on YouTube TV. I mean, I really think there should be a class action lawsuit on that. Unbelievable that I can't watch Netflix and I'm still paying for YouTube TV. I'm actually considering canceling it. I'm going to give it like maybe a few more weeks, and I'll probably switch to like maybe Hulu TV or something. Because the fact that I can't watch F1 and any ESPN, anything, NBC, nothing, I can't watch it because Disney and YouTube can't come to a damn agreement about putting the channel on their platform. Just sort of ridiculous. And they gave me a $20 credit. Oh, thank you very much. Here's a $20 credit for your next movie purchase. Oh, wow. Yeah, I don't know if you guys are dealing with that as well, but I have been, and it's terrible. I have the ESPN app, but you can't actually watch ESPN without a TV provider. So I have the ESPN app, I have ESPN Plus, but you can't watch the actual channel without a TV provider. Am I doing something wrong, or is that true? Because when I try to use my ESPN Plus to watch F1, like the main channel, it doesn't work. It says I need to sign into my TV provider. And my TV provider is YouTube TV, who doesn't have ESPN. So, I don't know. I could be doing something wrong. Let me know if I am. But anyways, Netflix, lows, and this daily high right here, you are technically in the gap if you hold above 1157.60. 1157.60. If you hold above that, you are in the gap. And look at where you're holding. Right here. Look at where you're holding. 1157.60. So, if Netflix can hold this zone today, if we can see strong buyers out of this zone today, I do like Netflix more continuation. We'll see if it can do it without the market, though. That's my concern. Maybe it's a little bit overextended at this point, but if Netflix can start to find some strong demand in this zone, I think we need to be watching it. I really do. I think we need to be watching to see what Netflix does. Okay? Definitely has some outperformance. All right, let's jump into some Dow names because these are really the spots that I want to be watching today. The Dow Jones. I'm sorry, not the Dow Jones. UNH, but the Dow Jones names. So yesterday, I traded UNH, grabbed over 200% on Friday contracts and over 50% on December contracts. So that was a wild, wild day on UNH. So right here, we can see that we had a break and retest of pre-market high. Now, let's back up, right? Let's back up. Let's go to where we started to talk about the entire idea that UNH could go higher. So earlier this week, we talked about UNH bouncing off this demand zone and the daily 100 SMA. From that point, UNH is now up quite a bit, right? Up around 7% from that point that we discussed on this live stream, that 316 and daily 100 SMA. So we started to curl off that level, which was beautiful. We saw it starting to show really nicely yesterday and into Tuesday and into Wednesday. Now, yesterday, the Dow went vertical off the open, and I mean vertical. I mean, it was just an astronomical move to the upside, like just bam. So when I saw that, my mind immediately went to UNH. I was like, oh God, I know UNH has a good daily setup. The Dow is going straight up, and so let's watch UNH. We have a pre-market high here at 330.50, and right here you can see we had a nice little 3-bar 330.50 pre-market high hold, and I slammed some longs right there, and that was an insane trade. That was probably the best instant gratification trade I've taken in quite some time. That was that was just awesome. That reminded me why I love trading. So sick little break and retest over pre-market high. Dow juicing, UNH juicing. Healthcare has been insane, and that was a wild trade. And so I'm still holding some December contracts, and I will see if I can just continue to ride this outperformance on Dow and some healthcare. So today I would love to see UNH hold right here, these lows, these highs, and this 337 spot. That would be a great hold on any pullback. We might need to fill this area in at some point, so I am cautious of that. Over 343, I think you are going to run to the daily 20 and daily 50 SMA. So definitely watching this, and I don't know if you guys remember, but way back when we saw the UNH downside come in and we saw it starting to come back in August, back in July, August, September, we said something about the XLV and how the XLV could be the best comeback thing to watch when UNH bounces. And take a look at the XLV and the weekly channel that we created. I'm not even sure when. I mean, I wonder if I can see a timestamp to when this was created. But this was on our live stream. We talked about this channel, and take a look at healthcare. Healthcare is absolutely ripping. So, this is a spot to watch, right? This is a spot to watch. This is a bright spot in the market, and that's sometimes what you need to flip to, right? So I think it's proper to take a little bit of an eye away from the tech names today and look at some healthcare. Look at some financials. Look at some Dow names, right? Caterpillar. Let's watch this, right? Caterpillar on this nice little, consolidation and flagging action. Let's watch some of these Dow names and let's see, right? Let's see if this is the spot to be. So definitely watching UNH today over 343. I would even look to take it long again on some short terms or a pullback to 336, 337. That is definitely a spot I'm watching today. The other thing that went vertical off the open yesterday was financials. Look at Goldman Sachs yesterday. Straight up off the open and basically just consolidated sideways. This is now all-time highs on Goldman Sachs. So Goldman Sachs, if we can get a pullback from this 4-hour high to these highs here, somewhere between this 813, 825, that could be a pretty sweet retest long. So that's something I'm watching. Another one I'm watching is JP Morgan. JP Morgan made new all-time highs yesterday, above these highs, above these highs. Can this hold and create a nice break and retest of all-time highs? That would be another thing I'm watching. All right, so keep an eye on those financials. Here's your XLF sector. Definitely starting to find that move back higher. If the XLF can get another strong move today and financials are strong, then that's a spot to be looking, okay? Eli Lilly, also just an astronomical move to the upside. I remember making this channel, but I totally missed this upside move. I mean, it sort of just slipped away. I don't know why I didn't watch it at all, but I remember we made this gap fill, and I don't know if you guys remember that day we were watching that Lilly gap. We have this gap that got filled, and ever since then, this thing has just been on an absolute tear. So, yeah, I mean, hard to chase this now, right? I mean, you really can't chase this. It's just not really the right thing to be doing. The only trade for me now would be a retest of 972. Do we get that? I don't know. But that really would be the only trade that I could take at this point. So right here on the daily chart, you have some previous daily highs right in here. Right in that 966, 970 area. And if you can get a pullback to that, which is not that far away, if you can get a nice pullback to that area, that could be a sick long. So let's go ahead and put some alerts there, and let's be watching Eli Lilly. Okay. All right. I'm going to show you two stocks now that look like they're about to fall off an absolute cliff. Actually, before that, let me talk to you about SoFi. SoFi, with the financial strength, I think there's a reason to be watching SoFi. It's a nice stock. It's looking very nice. The trend is very strong. Very nice, slow trend to the upside. Sturdy name here. And I would be looking for this pullback right here. 31. If you can get 31 to hold, if you can get that 31 level to hold and that pullback long to set up with the financial strength, I quite like that. So watching SoFi back at 31 today, that's something I would watch. And then all-time highs 32.57. Okay, these two stocks look like they're about to fall off a cliff, and I absolutely would have them on your radar today. Weekly chart on CRWV, there is literally no demand below 84.40. There is nothing. We've been talking about this. There's nothing here until 64. So that is a 20-point downside move. If I pull up the volume profile, it's going to look like the Grand Canyon. It's going to look like you have jumped off the Grand Canyon. Take a look at this. There's your Grand Canyon. You're standing right here, and if you drop off the side, you're dropping down to here. So there is nothing below this level in terms of volume, in terms of support. If you break under 84.40 today, I would absolutely look to get aggressive on some possible downside here. You can see right here, you are creeping right into it. If we penetrate this level today, could get nasty. I would be watching that. The other one I would be watching is Circle. Circle, we've been talking about this thing going down under that $100 level. It's now down $15 from that point. Underneath 84.90, you have nothing to 64. So I would absolutely be watching these two names today. Definitely CRWV underneath 84.40. Big watch. Okay? All right. What's gold doing? Gold pulling back. It's right in that demand. That's going to be a big watch for me today. Can that hold? If you do slip this low at 42.24, maybe you have to come back a little bit deeper into that demand low. Either way, big watch on gold today to see where that next leg comes in. And what else? And the UNH, the Dow, and the Nasdaq NTZ. That's the only other thing. The Nasdaq NTZ. Can we break above it? Or can we break below it, or can we break above it? That would be my watch. Gap fill on the QQQ begins under 616.80. Remember that. Gap fill on the Qs starts under 616.89. Right there. You break that gap fill, you might get some juice today. Okay? All right, guys. That's going to be it. Don't forget, down below, registration. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday next week, our live event. Make sure to be there. That's it, man. We'll have some nice giveaways. We'll have some merch giveaways, some other giveaways, some Black Friday talk. and just, have a good time. So hopefully the market is outside of this zone by then, or it's going to be not that fun. We're going to have to be looking for other things to trade, or we'll just have a great display of patience. All right, guys, have a fantastic day. Good luck out there. Be smart. Watch the no trade zone. Don't lose your money in sideways chop, man. Just don't do it. There's so many better things to be doing than getting stuck in this all day. Please be careful down here. Need to break it. If you don't break this low today and you bounce off of it, you're going to trade back into this gray zone, and it's probably not going to be very exciting. You likely would if you're a trader, I'm going to tell you this, whether you're bullish or bearish, and I don't care if you have a swing trade on or not, really what you would like to see is this gap get filled, because that would be the best trade of the day. If you bounce off these lows again and just sit in the middle of this channel, it's going to be a disaster, okay? So let's see. Press that like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.